Woohoo! Welcome. Here is a tutorial trying to make a toddler bed. I came up with the design, which is here. Hopefully you can see it. If not, I will have descriptions below and also on my website. So the first thing I want to do, I want to cut out my legs. After that, I'm going to get this sized up and rip that down to 5 inches. I'm going to build the frame. The actual frame is going to be of the middle of the entire bed, which is going to be drawers. So I'll build this whole section here. And then this is actually the mattress. I'm going to cut these pieces and assemble it and do all that other good stuff. I got a 4x4 from Home Depot, 70% off. There is some chips, but I figured the way I rip it down at 25 inches a piece, I should be able to mill it down to a 3-inch by 3-inch piece and come up with something solid. My first problem though is that this is a 8-foot piece, coming up to 96 inches, and I'm going to need at least 100, so not so good on my part. Right here I have 3 legs that are the same size. I deviated from the plan a little bit, so 25.5, just in case I mess up. Now I'm going to rip them down to 3 inches by 3 inches. There's the finished product, 3 on the dot, and I'm gonna have to sand it up, and then I will router the edges. Watching a couple seconds ago, I was ripping down these 4x4s. If you can tell, one of them is a different species. Yeah, but these are different. 1, 2, 3, and this one I believe is just pine, and you can tell because it's really sappy. And I have to sand these down. I made a mistake, and I cut this one too small. It's supposed to be 3 inches, and it's like 2 7/8, like 13/16, close to that. So then I had to cut these 3 down to the same size. So now all of them should be the same size. Next up, I'm gonna do the dividers. So it's gonna measure out to 12 by 27.5, and those are going to be not 0.75, but 0.5 on the outside and 0.75 on the inside. Parts I'm gonna cut now, that piece and this piece over here, 27.5, and the inside are going to be 1/2 inch pieces, 3/4 inch pieces, excuse me, 3/4 of an inch. Those are going to be the same size, so 12 by 27.5. Took a few days off, but essentially this is what the back part is going to look like. So my next step is I want to figure out some sort of shelving unit that I'm going to put in here. I want to make some interior boxes to put in there. That way the drawers can slide in and out. So while I brainstorm that, sit tight and watch this next part. So my idea is to have one template that I use for the other pieces. 2 of them, the 1/2 inch pieces, are only going to have drawers on the inside, obviously, because I'm going to have pocket holes on the inside as well. You're not going to see anything on the outside. But then for 3/4 of an inch pieces, the more heavy duty pieces, it's going to be on both sides. So it should be a little bit easier to match up. What I want to do now is I'll mark off the pieces. I'll get some scrap pieces of cedar, and I'll try to use those as like the drawer insert. So I have plenty of scrap wood around me, so I should be able to find something. Alright, so here are all of the pieces. I cut a few extra scrap pieces just in case they don't look right. Like for example, this one here doesn't look right. So I'm going to run them through the bandsaw here. I'm gonna set the guide up to about 1 inch, run all of them through on one side, and then I'll change it 3/4 of an inch and run it. So just by laying them out, some of them are exactly 1 inch, some of them are a little bit lower, so I'll take the lowest one that I think is good, and I'll use that as my guide. It's not gonna be a huge deal, but I want it to be as close as possible, so. Next step, I want to make sure that these are all 3/4 of an inch wide. So I set the fence to 3/4 of an inch. Alright, so I have that done, right? I have that part done. I have these cut down to 1 inch by 3/4 of an inch. Now the next thing I want to do, I want to cut like a little template bracket. It's going to be 1 1/4 inch. And what that's going to do is when I put my 1 inch piece on the outside of the actual drawers, there's going to be 1/8 of an inch wiggle between the top and the bottom. So I feel like that would be just enough room for the drawer to pull out smoothly. And I don't want it to be too snug, so I'll use that to kind of lay out the rest of my design, you know? Okay, cool. Alright, so now that I have my, I want to say my template, but I got one going here, so I'm going to use this. I drew out some lines. So I'm going to use this, and I'm going to take some glue and some brad nails and nail in the ones that I just made, the 3/4 of an inch side. So I'm going to put those on, and hopefully this turns out to be as good as I think it will. This whole process was about 50 times harder than I thought. First time trying to do this, trying to get them all lined up, matched up evenly. You see all my missed lines, cut way too many templates. I even brad nailed through the 1/2 inch pieces, so now I need to go back and fix that. So what I'm going to do now is I will drill and then countersink and then drop in some screws in each one of these, so that way they're more secure, obviously. So I have to do that to all of them. So I'll do that and I will be right back. Holy smokes. So now that everything is assembled, countersunk, I'm going to start assembling the actual base. So I'm going to take these two pieces and yeah, you'll see. So my next order of business, I'm going to create little pocket holes. We'll go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1 indicates that it's going to be the first one on the left, and 2 is going to be the last one on the right. So that's my little way of kind of knowing where they go. So I'll do that, and I think it's coming along pretty good. Learning a lot as I go, and I guess that's part of it. First time making a toddler bed. I hope you enjoy this video. If you do at this point, this very point, go ahead and hit the like button. A little thumbs up, a little smash it, a little pew, pew. Anyway, all right. Let's go. Let's build this thing. I got a problem, people. I have a problem. Here's the problem. I'm trying to fit this here, but when I do, this is not going to work out. So I'm going to try to remove these. I'm going to try and see what happens. Just wish me luck. I don't know what's going to happen. Let's see. All right, not too bad. That'll work. I can work with that. I can work with that. All right. Okay. Not too bad. Let's. Got the base. This is actually going to be the headboard and the footboard right over there. It's going to be facing us. So I'm going to do a few things on the inside. I still have to put the bigger pieces in, the 3/4 of an inch drawer shelves in, I guess you want to call it, drawer separator. So I measure that out now, and I'm trying to do the math from the inside here to the inside here is a total of 52 inches. Each one of these center units here is actually 3/4 of an inch. So the total space I want to have is going to be 50.5. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go 16 3/4, 16 3/4. That's all I have to know, and then the center is actually going to be 17. So it's not going to be a big difference, but it'll be good enough to have a drawer. This is just a little bit bigger. So I'll mark it off, and I will go from there. So far, so good. Coming along. Next step, I really think. Now I'm kind of just going off the whim here, but I really think I'm going to cover this up. It's going to be 12 inches by 53. So I'll go ahead and rip that down now. Here's the progress so far. I got 2 drawers in there. No, it doesn't seem like much. Next step would be to add the legs, obviously. Again, I will have all the plans in the bottom in the description. Give me a thumbs up, smash that like button. All right, here we go. 3rd day in the lab. This time I'm going to finish up with the drawers in the front, and I have to figure out exactly how I'm going to assemble the side rails. I don't know how I'm going to do that yet. And then I'm going to put the face of the drawers on, and then I'll assemble the headboard and the footboard and take those home and assemble it at home, and then I'll go ahead and paint it after everything is said and done. So that's the plan for the day. Hopefully I can get in and out in 2 hours. The clock, I guess, starts now. Alright, so now that I have the drawers made, what I want to do is I want to put a spacer here at the bottom. Then I want to start framing out my actual my little drawer thing so that it actually works. So this one's a little more loose. This one's pretty snug, and this one here is pretty snug. So it'll work out. I'm confident it'll work out. So I cut these down. These are going to be 1 inch. All right, 1 inch by 3/4. I don't know if you guys can see that, not focus. So 3/4 by 1 inch. They're gonna slide in just like this. So I'm gonna have some play. I sanded them down with the hand sander, palm sander. Try to get them not as smooth as possible, but pretty smooth. So what I'll do now is I'll do the first inserts here, and then I will try to just make sure they're aligned so that they slide in and out easy. I might use some double-sided tape to make sure they stick in the same spot that I want them to, and if not, then I'll have an issue. So my tape idea didn't work, so what I did is once it was all the way in, I just took a brad nail, nailed it here, and then just so I wouldn't ruin it on the back side, there's a small 1/4 of an inch gap or space. So just in case, if this wasn't lined up in the back, I'd be able to pop this off, adjust it while that's still pivoted. So what I'll do now is I'll just brad nail the rest, and I'm going to take 2 screws and I'm going to plant them in there as well. The last of them, this one's a little snug. It'll be alright. It doesn't have to go all the way in, so as long as I'm able to pull, I'll probably put some wax on it at the end. Be sure not to paint it, maybe sand it even a little bit more. Next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to create the faces of these now. So I'm going to have 3 separate faces. I'm just going to attach, brad nail them, and then when I put the handles on, it'll look a little bit different. Alright, so I got the two outside pieces framed up. Got the faces on. A little bit of a gap at the top, but you're not going to see that once I finish it up. So no worries there. I don't think. Now I'm gonna do the middle, different size, measure it up, see what it is. All right, it's coming along. It's coming along. They look even. All these little marks here are going to be covered up by either paint or the facing. This right one here for me doesn't look that great, but I think I can manage with that. So I guess on to the next step. Let's see if we can make this happen. Trying to decide what type of rail to put up here. The mattress will sit on the inside. So I had to do some touch-up sanding on the inside of this back one. So had to sand up along the back side, over here, and then on these grooves, and they're way in the back. So I used a palm sander to sand that. What I would have or should have done is I should have leveled them out before. Use a single template, cut it out, put it on the inside, stand it vertical so that it looks like this on the table. That way I know that they're all going to be flat 90 degrees. Use level to level that out. So, oh well, next step. Alright, so I made the mistake. So in order to correct the mistake, I had some 3/4 inch ply, which I really didn't want to use. I wanted it to be an actual piece of solid piece of wood, not plywood. So what I'm going to do with this, I'm going to router the edges here, and I'm going to end up laying them right up against the top, and I'll end up just using this for the mattress to sit in. These are measured out to be about a 5 1/8, I believe it was. So I'll set those up, put some pilot holes in the top of the bed, and I'll just start working from there. Hopefully it works out this time. Hoping to make this the last day in the lab, trying to finish this up. Gonna sand it up, gonna try to assemble it, cut some headboards and footboards and things of that nature, sand it all down, router the edges, and then work on another project. So without further ado, let's rock and roll. The next thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take these pieces. These are actually cedar, 2.5 inches, and they're going to go the length of the front of each drawer. So I'm gonna do that, and then any excess, I'm just gonna sand down. Pretty easy to do. Some of these are a little nicked up, not a big deal. I'll just measure one at a time. And for some of them, I'm gonna nail. Some of them I'm just gonna glue, and hopefully it sticks. So hopefully it works out. So now that I have that, I'll measure off the distance between here, and I will make those cuts and glue them on. Alright, so I have a small problem. I ran out of 3/4 of an inch plywood, which is what I was going to use on the backside. But since it is on the backside, and since I have this cedar laying around, what I'm going to do is mill that down to 3/4 of an inch by 2.5 inches, and that way it'll go the length all the way here, and I'll use the same cedar. So technically, it'll be the same front as what I had on the drawers that you guys saw earlier. So. Alright, so I have the framing or facing, whatever you want to call it, done. They're not in there yet. I actually ran out of brad nails, so I have to go get some more. But essentially, that's what it's going to look like. I'm going to load it up in the truck now. I'm going to finish it off at home in the garage. I'm at my high school right now. And then here's the top. Got the pilot holes, pocket holes. They're going to dig into the actual, what's that thing called? The sides. They'll dig into the sides. And then for the headboard and footboard, the tops and bottoms are framed in. They're gonna stay there. But I'm gonna use these here, and I'm actually gonna drill into the board here. So they'll end up drilling into here so that it's sturdy. So I hope that makes sense. I really do. Just load it up and rock it. Finish line, it's right here. So this side is already assembled, okay? So now I'm gonna set up this side here. What I've been doing is taking 1-inch brad nails and fastening it so it sticks, and then I follow up with 1-inch nails. I was worried that the nails would go through because this is 1/2-inch ply, this is 1/2-inch ply inside there. But the good thing is that there's this small space right there, so it kind of helps in the whole idea of having some extra space. So maybe a little bit too much, but I could deal with that. Bed is leveled off. I concur. I checked it. I agree with what I see. Faces have been implanted. Looks great. I'm going to fill in a few gaps. For example, that over there is a pretty big gap. But I'm not too concerned about this side because this is the back side. Woohoo! As you can see, it's all primed up. Next step would be for me to sand it, just a quick sand, take a wet washcloth, a damp washcloth, wipe it all down and get all the dust off, and start to paint. So, nearing the end. Painting, I looked up a bunch of stuff. People say use foam rollers, people say use foam brushes. I'm gonna try a regular brush to see what the difference is. I tried a foam roller, but I think it's too much wasted paint, in my opinion, so I'm just gonna brush. Boy, oh boy, it's been an exhausting project. But I'm here to the finish line. Probably about 1 hour to go. What I'm doing here, I'm taking the same compound I used earlier. I'm filling in the little holes that I had from the nail gun, the brad nails. So I'm covering those up and I'll sand them. Okay, I still have to do that one. Easiest thing, take a dab and then swoop it on up there. And then sand it with a sanding block that I have in the garage. And then everything that is brown will be navy blue. And everything that is white will be blue as well. So hopefully it's not too much blue. I don't want it to be a blue bed, but yeah, we'll see how it turns out. Everything seems to have dried up. Everything looks evenly coated. Might have to sand a few small parts, but for the most part, it looks okay. It doesn't look horrible. It looks okay. I could deal with this. So what I want to do on a rough fit, the drawers now to make sure they fit. My main concern is the top, so I want to make sure the top of the drawer is actually going to fit. Now that everything is painted, it does take up a little bit more space. Maybe the humidity or moisture in the air may have made the wood expand, so I'm going to test those out. So, my problem is that this edge here is getting stuck. So, I'm going to have to do some sanding. I might even have to sand underneath here a little bit, but I want to make sure the drawer fits in and out as smooth as possible. Whew. So here's the progress. I ended up taping off the corners, the inside edges, although I did miss a few spots. If I had to do it over again, I would have taken my time, taped it properly, used a utility blade, as you can see, to cut off the edges. This one came out here the best. Okay, I did the sides. You can see all that is blotchy, so I have to wait for this to dry. I'll tape it up and do the gray. A few touch-up spots, and then the same thing back here, a few touch-up spots. Now, this side is going to be facing the wall, so I don't know what I'm going to do. Do I want to just hide it behind the wall, or do I want to clean it up? I think I'm going to go clean it up, but I have to wait for it to dry. Okay, and then this side here, a few pieces peeled off. That's fine. I just retape or repaint, and that's about it. Okay, that's about it. I'm going to start sweeping in a minute. I'll see what time they're going to be back. I still want to cut those pieces over there, so let's see what happens. Got two small adjustments to make to the top, but I'm done. Woohoo! If you guys have comments, suggestions, recommendations, or questions, comment below. Put them there. If you want directions or instructions, follow me on Twitter. Hit me up. Ask me at Kris Bartels. Thanks for watching. And as always, if you haven't subscribed, please do so now. I'm not going to beg you twice. But if you want the channel to be better, how could I make it better? Help me help you. Peace.